and you could do it here again, Maynard.
Yeah, tell me more about 2017 and what Coffee did in 2017. It was 5 years ago, man. Oh, God. In the bottom left here, the Fell Omen. In the bottom left in the red from Invictus Gaming, this is Coffee.
And this man, is this going to be his final destination in this series? It's all the bad luck is lining up for him potentially. I can feel it, mate. It's Kaisi Gaming's time.
Meow, meow, meow. Number 1 seed with the number 1 seeded production music.
Heck yeah.
Very excited to see, like, as much as I'm a fan of Time and I think that he's like super favored in the series, I'm really excited to see what's coming out of Coffee. I really am keen to see what his plan is for this guy, besides, you know, spells and omens and, you know.
You have watched the Final Destination series, right, Maynard?
Absolutely. I've seen like 5 of those movies.
Fantastic. Good. Because, you know, it really, in those movies, it's just inane, random things that you would never expect, right? Coming at the least expected moment, right? And that's exactly what Coffee's goal is going to be here. Like right now, he's like, 1 Rex expand. I'm just playing a normal build. It's a Reaper expand. But we're always going to wait for that twist when he dials up the aggression. And as he calls it, goes for that suicide attack. He's going to say, look, you or me, we're going right here, right now. Hopefully when Time least expects it.
Yeah, Time's going to be like, I've defended the push, I'm fine. And then he goes to the bathtub and turns on his shower head and then slips over and the shower curtains wrap him up and he somehow strangles and gets suffocated by them. That's Final Destination kills, right? I remember that one. That was the first movie, I think.
Sorry, I was just clearing my throat there. Yeah, the first one. Dude, there was so many just ridiculous ones. Airbags impaling people after car crashes and things like that. It was always super random.
Logs flying off the back of trucks. That's definitely that's a TVT loss for sure.
Oh yeah. You're winning. Didn't hold position. Your Marines and tank shot baited 60 Marines into the tank line when you weren't looking.
All right.
Well, this is a very aggressive opening for Time, dude. He's going 4 Reapers and a Hellion. I think it's going to be probably 6 Hellions, 3 Reapers. Reactor Hellions does well versus that if you hold down the Hellion key for long enough, right? The problem is if Coffee swaps after 2 or 4 Hellions, he'll just get overrun. But if he builds 6 Hellions, I think he should be okay.
Yeah, pretty dedicated here. And back at home, Coffee is playing a pretty stock standard TVT opener right now on the macro side.
The angle of the attack is going to matter a lot as well, right? Because Hellion Splash is so huge. Time does swap into Marines now. Okay, so he's not going to completely YOLO this. It's just 4 Reapers, 2 Hellions for now. And he's going to go for a poke. 4 Hellions obviously loses to that. If he goes for 6, Coffee should be good though. Yeah, he's going for 6. So especially if he gets a good volley off on this ramp. Ooh, this is good for him.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of the Hellions here. Oh, it just escapes. KD8 grenade zone.
Oh, don't chase up there, mate. You're outnumbered, bro. Oh, my lord. Coffee, is he going to win this fight?
He is.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, everything's crazy. One shot. He's trying to line up the Hellion. That was tricky from Time, but yeah, good spread there for Coffee. Damn, dude.
Wins the first fight there. He ends up losing 3 Hellions for 4 Reapers and 2 Hellions. Obviously, a lot more gas invested in that as well for Time. And now Time is on the defensive. 3rd command center goes down for Coffee. What the heck? Oh, my God.
Did we get the colors right?
I would like him to play mech. I think he can play mech really well versus Time. Like a 3-base mech timing push is actually very hard to stop. So that's what I'm hoping for personally. I'm having all sorts of dreams about, daydreaming right now about him playing Sky Terran and weird stuff like that. I saw Special do that the other day, so it's in my head. I'm like, please, I want to see this become a thing.
Repairs on these Hellions to keep them up. Love a Terran who repairs his stuff. Not everyone does this.
Yeah, it's nice just getting a little bit of efficiency there.
All right, well, it's going to be a bit of a lull in the action here because this is the phase of TVT where we're just heading towards the 3rd base. Might be a little bit of light harassment, but it's generally the macro up and wait for the extra bit upgrades, drop the 2nd and 3rd barracks. I mean, assuming they're going bio, not too many people mech.
Yeah, interesting to see where Coffee goes from here because he's got the 4th gas up, but no 2nd or 3rd barracks, which does feel like mech to me, but I am but a simpleton. So Time has gone for his 4th gas now as well. And very close in supply. Small worker advantage for Coffee still. He does drop the 2nd and 3rd barracks. Okie dokie. Bio it will be.
Indeedy. And we had the switch over on the... so he's gotten 2 Ravens. I find my 3rd Raven there. I think it's just 2 Ravens, and he's switching over for the tech lab on the barracks. Starport on the reactor to start getting out the Vikings. Don't think he's going to go medevacs first, but we do have a little bit of a standstill as Time just chills, man. He ain't going anywhere.
I wouldn't mind the triple Raven run by in the main. You know, the army pokes the front, and then the Ravens just spam mortar turrets through the main and the natural maybe. But Coffee is going to move out, take his 3rd base right now, and definitely just going to be continuing that macro advantage scan. Sees that it's bio play, and pretty standard bio play at that.
Yeah. I like this. You know, Coffee, even if he does intend to get a little bit more YOLO later in these series, he's going to feel him out. He's like,
yeah.
Let's just play and see where we're both at.
And show that I can play a pretty standard game as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Tanks there already denying Time's 3rd a little bit, just gaining small advantages without really getting stuck into the kind of multitasking mechanical war.
Mm-hmm. Our 3rd base Time cannot land just yet as we got a very light contained by Coffee.
For Time, you really want to get a drop going, bit of multi-prong. That's where you're going to see Coffee struggle very hard to keep up. Also, if you could win the first Viking fight, that'd be pretty big. Marines threaten the run by, and they do end up having to pull back once they're spotted.
Yeah, an attempt at a little bit of a run by there for Time. And until Stim is done, which is nearly done for both players, you don't have a ton of mobility here. 3rd base is going to try and land. Looks like Coffee's going to, rather Time's going to try and rotate forward here with those tanks. Hold this position. He's going to take some shots on the CC, but he's got the Vikings.
Oh, okay. I mean, Coffee's getting a lot of damage done here indirectly by stopping this from mining. And he is macroing well behind this as well. Viking count, though, is looking okay. And, oh, Time's almost got that Raven kill.
Yeah, very close. The Raven is a high priority target here for both players, really. So is it 3 Ravens for Coffee, right? And Time, I think, only has the 2.
That's right. That's right. And that's why the Viking count should be pretty similar. But if you get all those auto turrets or Inference Matrix down, it's good. I like the pullback from Coffee. I really think the pullback is well timed for him. Did he never start his 1-1? Oh
my god. No.
Oh.
Does he have an engineering base?
He should. I'm pretty sure he built them in the back of his main or something like that.
It looks like they are. Like I can see in the minimap there's two big boxes behind the mineral lines between the refineries.
He does start +1 attack right now, but Coffee, I think he's at that point where he's like, dude, I've built 70 workers. I want to fight now. I want to fight. Obviously, that is his trademark style. Right now, though, just working the same angle repeatedly, he's got to chill a little bit. He's still building SCVs. He's already got more than enough for 3 base. And I definitely feel like, 4th base on the way for Coffee. But what if drops start coming out for Time? There is not really anything to respond to them right now. Your army's still a little bigger, but with the upgrades starting to get so far ahead for Time, it feels like Time can just turtle it up. And he said, hey, my style is to turtle. Coffee said, my style is suicide attack. Well, I feel like the longer this goes, the scarier it gets for Coffee, who has shown expert early game in his TVP, but he gets very, very crazy and sloppy in the mid game onwards. And I imagine it's the same in TVT. He's had some good series versus Time that we've cast in the past, but usually Time does just hold it together in the chaos better than him.
All right.
Oh, he's going to shove. He's going to shove.
Oh, yeah. The tanks are siege for Time. He scans. He just sees the back end of that one tank, but there's way more where that came from. That's only part of the story, mate. Do not go up that ramp.
Marine at least spots where the army is. That's very useful. Second factory's on the way for Coffee now. He's still ahead in supply, but yeah, definitely a situation where I kind of go, okay, like what's the asymmetry you want to create here? And he's going to try and just jump on the Marines. So the reason I keep talking about asymmetry, Maynard, is if you just have tanks and he has tanks and you have the same Viking count, he has the same Viking count, it's like, it's hard to make a play happen. And that's fine if you're happy sitting there and turtling. But if you're a guy who very much is only happy when you're attacking and killing the other guy, like Coffee is, you really want to have that play you can make. Oh, I have more Vikings? Let's pick a Viking fight. Let's edge my tanks closer, right? Let's take that advantage. But if you don't have a clear advantage, which he doesn't really in anything, he's like, yeah, okay, he's a bit ahead in Marines, but that doesn't help too much when he's turtled up. It's hard to pick exactly what you should do here, and he's definitely getting antsy.
Oh, that's a big stem with 2 medevacs.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
every single Marine just got a little bit of juice there. Oh, man,
Second
Coffee
and
really
third
wants to come in there.
starport, dude. Coffee's gonna.
No, Coffee, go, 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 go. Oh,
YOLO!
massive interference matrixes.
YOLO!
But there's still 3 tanks in the back end. Oh, man, there's like 7 tanks here for Coffee, taking a big volley on those Marines of time.
Oh, get your Marines back! Ow, 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 ow. Oh, ho, ho. Oh my lord, both players take some messy trades there. But I think it was all right for Coffee as something that's like an even trade is actually good for him.
Oh, I like this.
Especially if he has the Viking advantage. His Marines do keep going forward. Remember, he does F2 a fair bit. Oh, time comes forward and forces the Marines into the tank fire. Auto turrets do defend that tank position though, and the Vikings reign supreme. Coffee in an advantaged position right now. Time's gonna have to take the air fight, and he's got the numbers for it.
He certainly does pull the Vikings back and got them into a bit of a ball. Gets a little bit too close to those Marines there. Loses one more Viking. Still has the Viking advantage. This position is very, very annoying, but Coffee is losing these tanks over here on the left side. A hot pickup for the medevac to save them and bring them back to the initial spearhead of this attack of Coffee. And this is a tank line standoff.
If Coffee had scanned there and shift clicked the tank with his tanks, or clicked the SCVs a bit that were repairing, he might have been able to get that planetary. Now he starts up 2-2 as 3-3 starts up for time. Raven transition is underway for him, but he needs to keep his tank count high. He's building a lot of command centers, so he is heading towards the Iron Bank, of course, where you get lots of orbitals for vision and mules and the like. A small advantage being maintained by Coffee. I still am very worried because as time maxes out with 3-3 and equal armies, there's no more like big advantage because it's just like, oh, you have Ravens, but if you're this far behind in Vikings, does it matter? We need to keep an eye on that unit count just so we can check, because if Coffee catches up on Vikings, he'll be really good.
It is kind of, yeah, there we go. 7 Vikings apiece, both players. Coffee with the bigger army. Time with the better up rates. He's got 3-3 just around the corner as well. Well, by around the corner, I mean 3-3 takes 1,000 years to finish. It's halfway done.
Time is just marauding around with the pack of Marines and medevacs. It's a very low-risk move out. Finally adding his own second and third starport now. Remember, he was so delayed on getting the gases on the third. And then the fourth base is the follow-up to that. And that is why Time has been trailing in the game. But he's patiently getting the game dragged out. And the longer the game drags out, the less those early advantages for Coffee mean anything. They're both maxed. You can't make more than 200 supply. Here we go. He's going to try and push in here. Nice interference matrices. Only part of Time's army here, but Time's going to do a big backstab.
He certainly is. Big counterattack over at the third base location for Coffee. Just Marines. And no tanks to defend. They're all over here on the front line.
Oh, the Marines come over, but it's not enough. He does have an auto turret.
Fight.
Yeah, SCVs have to tank for him to allow him to break on through. And with the tank sieging up, 23 SCVs go down. But siege tanks on the front do gain position on the third. That is quite damn useful.
It's got to lift that.
Oh, Vikings could actually kill that.
Oh, he's not paying attention.
It's a hard one. I mean, he could repair it if he was quick enough, and it is time. Time is almost always quick enough. 2-2 kicks in. He says, yes, finally, we're even on 2-2.
For 3 seconds. Oh my god, I've got even upgrades in. Ah, damn it.
Oh, Marine bombs. Coffee's Marines continue to headbutt forwards. You can see his army. He gets very antsy with his F2ing of his army.
Yeah.
He does that always because he really likes to just shove in and finish his opponent off, and he walks into the tank fire a bit too much. I think he's okay losing those SCVs, honestly. He's got a 5th going up and so on. He's got tanks and Marines here. Ooh, very nice.
And Coffee's got the 4 Ravens here. Feels like he could head towards that phase of the game where he gets Corvid Reactor.
Does Coffee have medevacs, though? Because I think his Marines can't heal.
No, he doesn't have medevacs. Yeah,
he just stimmed 50 Marines. He has no medevacs, man.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage. I mean, 50 Marines, that's 500 health points.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Time with a good angle. Oh, no! Coffee gets caught out there. All of his Ravens get blasted.
Oh, man.
Here we go. Time's trying to break those rocks. Those rocks, Coffee's saving grace right now. That buys him a moment of time to reposition. Of course, he has still got the third of time denied. Time's going to try and re-land that, but the tanks killed it. They just killed the orbital as it landed at the third. It landed. He didn't realize there was still 4 tanks there. I just saw a big blob disappear on the mini-map.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The power of the siege tank.
We said he was going to repair that. He never repaired it.
All right. Oh dear. A bit of a rotation here from Time. He loses a couple of tanks on the advance. Feels like it's a very awkward attack from Time.
Oh, Coffee
Coffee's
though.
diving.
Coffee's going YOLO. Is it going to work out? I think this is way ahead of himself. Yeah.
Third base still up in the air here for Time, or she landed back into a different location by the looks of things. Still got 4 bases mining, does both players. Actually 5 for Coffee. And finishes there at the bottom right.
Oh, tanks are a bit slow to siege here for Coffee, but he has a good marine count, a few auto turrets as well. It's actually a very good angle, I think, for Coffee. Ooh, it's so close.
It is very, very close. The advantage for Time is that his marines are stronger than Coffee's, but he lost all of them at the beginning of the fight there, so no real advantage.
Never. Oh, another command center on the right side. I think it's the main. Just landed for Time. Yeah, he just landed it and it took tank fire, but it did lift off. Okay. All right, so we've got
oh, that's cute.
Very nice. The lack of 3-3 when you're going very heavy Marine Raven is really bad. It feels like Coffee's economy, even though he denied these bases, he didn't preserve his own economy well enough. We can see he's banking gas, and that's not necessarily bad macro. It's just that he lost those 23 SCVs on his third base earlier. And after a few bad fights, finds himself in a rough position. Now, this is a very good push to deny Time's economy, but Time has enough numbers. He can just shove the rally. He can get right up the guts of Coffee. Coffee's hoping that Time pulls back to defend this. Time, though, is going to continue forwards across this map, and he's going to get into Coffee's economy in a big way.
Yeah, repair there on that planetary, and it's kind of a mirror image on both sides. Their planetaries over in this location on each side of the map are getting hammered by tanks. Mass repair from Time to keep it up. He is rallying reinforcements.
Oh, he sieges the top army as well. Oh, Marines do pull back.
Yeah, just out of range, like Coffee's paying attention. That planetary dies, does not manage to keep it up. Time still repairing the other one. Interference matrix on these tanks defending from Coffee. Time in range of the command center now.
Only 2 auto turrets getting down. Nice push for Time. And Coffee, he played a fantastic first game here, a really good macro game. We see that Time is just so comfortable treading water in the turtle macro game, even when he's way behind.
Oh, planetary just kind of gets deleted there. I'm used to watching that thing live forever.
No repair whatsoever. He's going to try and pull the boys in here and break this position. But even with, oh, look at that defensive auto turret, the Marines here, such an expensive fight for Coffee. He clears up the army, but if that ain't a Pyrrhic victory, then I don't know what is.
That's right. Yeah, that's checkmate. Unfortunately, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't clean that up. He's lost a lot of units that he cannot afford to lose. These look at the army supply differences. Like, forget that the worker difference is insane. The army difference is even worse. And keep in mind that Time is making very cheap and very easy to replenish Marines, which are double upgrades ahead on Coffee's.
Yeah, that first time when the Marines and Ravens of Coffee kind of stumbled into Time's army and he lost 4 or 5 Ravens was a big turning point in this game. And since then, Coffee was so busy rebuilding Ravens, there was multiple points where he didn't rebuild his medevacs. And so his Marines just couldn't heal after their stims. You're down double upgrades and you're damaged before the fight even starts. That adds up. It adds up a lot. And that is why this became such a slippery slope. And Time down a base, but started just taking the much better engagements. If we can check the units lost tab, I think that's going to tell us a pretty convincing story of exactly how efficient Time was.
That's a big difference. 4,000 minerals, about 2,000 gas. And Time's army is looking unstoppable at the moment. Big Raven number, huge Marine number, and some tanks at the back end as well. There's plenty of medevacs.
That main base got floated out here, but oh, even it's going to go down now. Coffee goes for the desperate counterattack towards the third.
What else are you going to do? F2 and go.
But it's only a handful of Marines and a few tanks trailing from behind. Coffee knows he's not going to match that. Time always going to beat him in the rate at which he kills the base there. And Time treads water, gets to play a game exactly of the kind that he enjoys. I think not a bad way for Coffee to start out. I think he was waiting to see if he could get an advantage. And to be fair, he was actually ahead most of that kind of early mid-game period. We just saw a big delay on the upgrades there. And even though he went Ravens and did it really quite nicely, it's hard to manage the movement and the control on such a big map. definitely one where Time showed that he is the better macro TVT player.
Yeah, for sure. And we'd like to talk about it a little bit more. We've got a game 2 coming up after the break, though. We'll see you then. Don't go away. G'day StarCraft fans and welcome back to the DreamHack Masters main event here for China. I'm Main Up, with me is Pig, and you're watching the Valencia summer season unfold right before your very eyes. And what else is unfolding before your very eyes is a TVT between Time and Coffee. And you know what? Time won that first map, but I gotta say, respectful professional golf claps to Coffee's macro. That was an incredibly good macro TVT. The first half of that game, he was absolutely winning it.
Absolutely, mate. You know, I think we saw a few things not go so well there for Time, and I think we saw the Ravens, you know, flying backwards across the moon, and the Hellion Reaper getting destroyed. 4 Reapers and Hellions dying for just 3 Aliens at the start, getting his third denied for like 4 straight minutes. I mean, this was not a great start for Time at all. but he did manage to knuckle down and fight his way back into it. So well done for Time taking that very first map. And I think at this point, Coffee, similar to some of his previous series, says, game 1, I'll play a bit normal, do some stuff I don't normally do. And I think game 2, we are going to see a much more aggressive Coffee. Of course, a few options that come to mind. Marauder drop with Hellion dive.
There's a classic.
You know, Viking tank pushes, proxy Marauder. There's a lot of things out there. We'll see exactly what he's got in store. Of course, so far, dodging the logs flying off the back of the truck. All the sharp knives coming down. He trips over into his shower curtain and tries to strangle him, but he evades it all. Can he keep it going? In the bottom right, it's Kaisi Gaming's Time.
And in the top left here, from Invictus Gaming in the red, he is Coffee.
All right, back to double gas, baby.
Yeah, we're not messing around anymore.
No more of that silly 1-Rex expand business. This is going to allow him to get the action going a little bit earlier. Now, he could still use this defensively, of course. It's a very standard way to start TVT. But it will give him access to earlier tech. This is a map which isn't too bad if you want to do something like a tank drop. You can definitely get in range of their ramp and that sort of stuff. Or on the natural, there's a nice little low ground area. And it's going to be Reaper first for both players. Factory does go down a little bit earlier for Time, so Time was a bit quicker to get the gas mining up, but his Reaper's later. That's because Time went gas first, and Coffee, of course, just going for the standard barracks gas.
Yeah, this Time's got a slightly faster factory as a result. But other than that, no big deal. We are on Belgrade, of course, just like another map that feels like it's a little bit shorter. It probably isn't, but it feels like a shorter distance from one base to another.
If you open those minerals up, up front both your naturals, it's a tiny rush distance, right? Especially because that's kind of a high ground, so it feels like that's almost like an extension of your natural. So pushing from there to the opponent's kind of natural high ground is like, oh my god, it's a stone's throw away. So definitely, you know, those pushes can materialize out of nowhere.
Absolutely. Only takes one trip from one worker to open up those rocks. So we're in the standard phase of TVT where the workers are getting back on gas. We're heading towards Starport after dropping the expansion. We're getting our multiple Reapers and Hellions up. We've got our early game anti-light armies.
2 Reaper and Hellion for Coffee before going into the reactor and a Widow Mine. Quicker Starport for him. Whereas Time is just continuing Reaper production for now. Does drop his own Starport a few seconds later. Very similar build orders for both sides.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a very, very stock standard 1-1-1 with the Widow Mine throw in as well. And the Widow Mines, we're seeing that a little bit more. Like, normally I would be like, huh, you don't know what you're doing in TVT like that. Maybe 2-3 years ago with a Widow Mine. But it actually has quite a bit of utility. You know, you can grab one light unit that gets a little bit too deep, and all of a sudden you can snowball. Like, the Reaper Hellions don't look scary, but trust me, you play enough TVTs, Reaper Hellion can just win the game right there. Like, they can break your defense, get into a natural, get into a main, and your workers are dead. Dead as doornails.
Yep, 8 Reapers and 4 Hellions with a medevac used to be my standard opening. Jump up the cliff with the Reapers, boost in and unload the Hellions. You kill that Cyclone that's sitting in the corner of the main waiting for a Raven or something to come in, and then you just win the game. There's some crazy all-ins that abound, but both players are playing very conservative and very blind as well. Remember that neither of them has left their corner of the map. They haven't even connected their vision. Their shared vision has not even hit the middle of the map. It's crazy.
Yeah. It is a very, very similar game, both just standing there, and this is what TVT is sometimes, guys. When both of them just want to expand and macro, they're like, sure, I'll expand and macro. I'm a Terran. I love building things. I love macroing.
The Raven is just such a good generic defensive tool because it does provide detection, and the auto turrets are so incredible. The interference matrices are so good. So I think the Raven is the big, with the interference matrix especially, it's the big reason why we do see this sort of TVT. It has to be respected.
It has to be respected.
It's there are some Viking pushes, right? You get one Raven straight into Vikings or even straight Viking tank, and they can be very powerful. You'll see A lot of players like Clem pull that out when they're behind in a match. And they're like, okay, Viking tank, go, you know, try and get like this weird air superiority push going. But
yeah, I've seen those where like the starport has a reactor on it right away. Like you switch it over with the barracks, get it onto a reactor right away, and then just queue up a couple Vikings and then push with those 2 Vikings. Yeah, I've seen that.
Maybe even add a Liberator in there as well if you can squeeze it in, and you really use that advantage to actually siege on their tanks. But quick third command center for Time, and he's gotten away with it. He's got way less army supply at this point though. So I think Coffee should just have more Marines mostly if we look at the units tab, right? I don't think he can have many more tech units yet. 9 more Marines. That's the faster command center for you.
Yeah.
Basically, Time is trying to get to the mid game, and Coffee has built a lot more generic fighting units. It means this push will be very scary, especially if you can take the tanks out of the equation with the Matrix.
Yeah, without the tanks, the Marines rule everything.
And Time moves out at the worst possible time. Oh, he misses the army. Moment. Oh, but will Coffee find the window? No. Time returns just before the dangerous period starts.
What am I coming with the push here for Coffee? Third base got queued up there, and then Time's like, hang on a minute, just put that right there. Nah.
Probably not a good idea.
Not naming any names, of course.
No, not naming
Don't want to out anyone here.
Coffee, show us that armory, baby.
Oh my god, Pig's naming him. That's so toxic.
Show us that armory.
Yeah, it's going to be another game where Coffee's behind in 2 upgrades here by the looks of things, at least as far as Marines are concerned.
Still got a bigger army, but only by a tiny little bit. Just a little 5 supply. And okay. Armory goes down, so it's not too late. It's going to be about a 30-second delay at most on the 2-2. And since he's being so good... Oh, is he in range of the CC?
The 4th one building in the natural. It's going to be the cancel there from Time for sure. Cancel.
Naughty.
Right.
Good damage. That's really important. He starts his own 4th command center as well. And, oh, whoa.
Oh, damn.
I don't know where he clicked just then, but those tanks went haywire, man.
Weird snafu right there, and Coffee just loses a couple tanks. Whoopsie daisies. That's a really big loss. Indeed.
Yeah, it does hurt a lot. Like 6 tanks to 8 now, something like that should be the numbers. Second factory goes down earlier for him, and check it out. The 2-2 only just started for Time. Coffee, start that 2-2.
Not that big of a delay. I mean, yeah, there you go. Starts it now. He started the tank upgrade. He's like, wait. I should probably put that gas into the armor upgrade for the Marines instead.
Make those Marines good has got to be the priority, and definitely something that he's keeping an eye on. He has a few medevacs for his army, so he can heal up post-stim as well. Time just wants to turtle and run around with Marines. This is the really safe way to play the matchup. The upgrades have all started for both sides. And yeah, Coffee, he hasn't made the mistake that he made last game. On the other hand, Time's not behind in supply this time. Time is actually ahead in workers. He's still got a 4th command center at equal build time as Coffee. And right now, Rufus wandering around the map, the doggo. But Coffee's gonna get caught!
Coffee caught on siege. Time coming in with his Marines. A lot of his Marines are stuck behind his own tanks, weirdly enough. So he doesn't have that huge front line. And he's got a bunch of his tanks interference matricide, but the air battle on the Marines finally arrived. They're coming from the south side there. It does look like Time's going to take the scuffle after all.
Tiny map, man. That army just materialized out of nowhere. Coffee was not expecting. He lost track of Time. And that's what happens when you're so used to being the one bullying the map for minutes on end. And then he finally just materializes out of there. A great attack here from Time. And he's just going to blitz through and rip him apart.
Oh, yeah. GG. And Time takes the 2-0 lead against Coffee.
Dude, that was a big issue there. You know, it's just one of those things where you're like, hey, I got the situation on lockdown. Added my 4th, added my upgrades, my 2nd factory, my 2-2. I've got depots to 200. Looking good. And then that army comes in, and there was no choice at that point. Coffee lost track of the army for about maybe 10-12 seconds, which is definitely, it's a big mistake for him for sure, but there's very few maps where you get punished that hard. But once that army was in that position, he couldn't have pulled out of there. He would have lost all of his tanks. He was kind of forced to fight. It was a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, absolutely. This is brutal as well. Very cost-effective Widowmine. Yoink.
It's a shame he never cleaned it up after the first time. I think he thought he checked for it because it was hiding in the grass. He didn't see it.
And this was a nice pick off there on the 4th base, slowing down the economy of Time, but this was the big moment. Yeah, they're getting caught. And the Marines just awkwardly going, where do we go? Okay, well, guess we go south. We're pathing. Yay, AI. but they get there eventually. And the main victory here for Time is his air battle. Like, the sky battle is much better for Time. And even though the tank, that frontline tank line got interference matrix seed, it wasn't really getting removed. He wasn't killing the tanks. And Coffee didn't punch through that wall of Marines fast enough for the interference matrices to matter.
And those siege tanks just absolutely destroyed once there was nothing left for him, Maynard. 6-7 tanks is just brutal. Pulling the boys works versus 1 or 2 tanks. 6 or 7 tanks say no.
Pig, I have a theory. Do you think that Coffee said all the things that he said to production and probably also to, you know, Chinese productions, as Chinese stream as well, just to make us think that he's going to one base all in? Because he's like, he said, I hate TVT late game. I play Suicide Terran. I mean, while that attack through the middle of the map looks suicidal, that was just him getting caught. That happens all the time, to good players even. You know,
yeah, I think he wants to play suicidal, Maynard. I think he wants to, right? He wants to, but he's played so much against Time, and Time's opening is so solid. So what he's kind of looking for the, like, okay, all right, well, you're just going to turtle so much. I'll just, like, deny your 3rd, get ahead. Then I'll deny your 4th, get ahead. And then I'll kill you at some point, right? But he's struggling to find a kill timing that's I have 12 Ravens maxed on energy. It's not exactly a very fast timing, is it? And it's giving too much of a window, a period in time for Time to show his skill and just his expertise at the late game. It's a scary situation, and I do think that Coffee needs to take some bigger risks in the early game and, you know, look to catch Time off guard, tank drop, whatever it is, Viking tank push. Like I said, Marauder drop, boost in with the concussor Marauders, drop them on the Cyclone and run your Hellions in. There's some crazy builds out there. He's on his last life. It's time to throw caution to the wind and throw hot coffee in his opponent's face. In the top left side of the map, it's Invictus Gaming's Coffee.
My favorite morning beverage. Can't wait for mine in about 8 hours time. Can't wait. Highlight of my day.
It's going to be good, man.
And in the bottom right, in the blue from Kaiser Gaming, currently on match point, this is Time. I think, honestly, this is another one of those score isn't really telling the story kind of things. I think game 1 was super close. Game 2 was actually a great tug of war up until that blunder in the middle of the map from Coffee, which could happen to anyone. You know, they're really great Terran players have that happen to them all the time. That's just the nature of TVT sometimes. Just like, oops, okay, I'm dead. In fact, that's kind of the nature of StarCraft 2 as well. Like, there's a lot of games where one push ends the game. You know what I mean? One way or another.
Yeah. 100%, Maynard. 100%. It's a situation, though, which I think if you look at Coffee versus Time's head-to-head over the last few years, I think all their series are kind of like that, where you're like, man, these games are really close, but that's still a 2-0. That's still a 3-1, you know? It's definitely something where, as much as I'm cheering for Coffee and I want him to bring out the builds and everything, we see a lot of guys cheese out like Maru and get him with technical build orders, the best macro Terran in the world in TVT, right? You know? TY, unfortunately, is in the military, which is why we haven't seen it as much recently, because he used to be the kryptonite for Maru, and I think likewise against Time, who's playing a very Maru-esque style, a very defensive turtle late game style. He even called it that himself. I think there are still ways to dismantle it and take it apart. Coffee's going to open up nice and greedy. Super quick reactor after that Reaper. A little bit of greed into an aggressive timing attack is always a great way to play when you're the underdog.
I would love to see something very dedicated and aggressive from Coffee in this game. I feel like we haven't really seen it. He has been the one to attack first, but not the one to win the map, unfortunately. And also the attacks are like macro attacks. I want to see something very committed.
Yeah, semi-macro, I'm okay with you macroing to a point, but I want to see, you know, something happening before the 3rd command center is down. Double Reaper production on the way for Coffee here, so we will be pounding those on out. And the later reactor for Time, who invested in the 2 Reapers. So you can definitely get a Reaper advantage. Unfortunately, though, for you, Time is going for the Widow Mine. The Widow Mine is so good at stopping Reaper Hellion aggression, which is why the only way you could really make this work is if you were doing, say, a medevac as well and unloading the Hellions in the main base with the Reapers. But for now, it could just be defensive, you know, 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions, and indeed it is.
How ho-hum from both players at the moment. The Marine switch for both of them as well.
As soon as you see that Widowmine line, you want to just pull back. Hopefully Coffee doesn't lose any units. He definitely doesn't want to commit into that.
Yeah, it's going
I
to
guess
lose at least one
arguably,
unit.
he could sack a Reaper, but it's not going to be worth it.
Whoops. Sacks the Hellion instead.
Well, at least he gets the Widowmine into trade. Relatively even there. Widowmine costs 25 more gas. You could argue gas is more valuable in early game TVT. And already tanking medevac for Coffee. That is what I like to see,
Yes,
Maynard.
dude. Yes, dude.
Yes. All right. Raven, Cyclone, time going for those normal units that are very good at gaining value in the long run. But the tank, if it gets sieged up by surprise in a good spot, it can just wreak havoc.
Absolutely. Yeah, the fast load up, the fast boost across the map. Something that's, again, like what I just mentioned, how you can get caught unexpectedly quite often in this matchup and how brutal it can be because of how high DPS everything you have is. The faster you hit, this kind of thing can really catch even the greatest players with their pants down. And time Cyclone's not patrolling.
Straight into Viking tank as well, Maynard. How good is that? So he's going to go for the Viking tank follow-up. Here we go. Let's see what he can do. He's going to try and put that tank really far forward. But, oh, lock on the medevac. Okay, medevac does take a couple of big hits. No scan available. Oh, he doesn't have a scan.
Oh, medevac's still giving us some high ground vision. The tank assisting. It feels like, oh, man, the spread on the Marines as well. Like, time just made that look so easy, man. Oh, it's just unfair.
His whole army was right there, and Coffee is going to tap out at that.
Holy heck.
Oof.